Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff Gersman. We're back here with GiantBomb.com's continuing coverage of E3 2017. Day 2 is in the books. Night 2, we're in the middle of it. So let's get right down to it. We've got some more guests here joining us from Oddworld Inhabitants. We've got Lorne Lanning. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Thanks for having me back on.
Great to see you. And Tim Willits of id Software, welcome.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So it's been a crazy couple of years for it. I mean, you got Quake Champions coming out here. Oh, I guess. Is it in more of an open beta now, or is it still kind of a closed thing?
Yeah, I mean we're still in beta, but you just go to Quake.com, hit the little "Give me a key," and you can start playing.
Okay, and you'll definitely get a key. It's not like a waves thing. It's, okay.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. We keep it in beta so we can reset stats if we need to and skill rankings, and we keep adding things without people getting all upset.
Yeah,
but anyone can go on and join the beta.
Yes.
Even you, Lorne.
Wow. Yes.
We can all play Quake Champions. It's true.
I'm an obnoxious reviewer. That's why I never do
well, it. Yeah, no, it's you have to be a certain brand of, what's the word? Asshole. That's what I am. That's how I get it.
I just don't want everyone to know that's what I am.
Okay, fair enough. Quake Champions is, in some ways, a lot like the games of its past. In some ways, very different. You know, the structure of. This class system and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to use the word class.
Okay.
Yes,
champion system.
Yeah, at its heart, it's still pure Quake. And since I've made all the Quakes, I know Quake hard.
That's right. You would know.
I would know, and it is true to what the franchise says.
Yeah, and it's been interesting playing it kind of around some of these waves through the waves of betas and seeing it kind of take shape with kind of the different passive abilities and active abilities. Was it challenging bringing that stuff to something like, I think a lot of people think about Quake as a very pure thing.
Yes,
this is another layer.
Yes. When we announced the game and we said there would be champions in it with abilities, people freaked out. They're like, "Oh my God, you're ruining my Quake!" But now that people have been playing it, that's gone, and because people can see that it really does not change the way you play the game. I mean, it's still very skill-based, still the classic arena shooter, but the champions, their abilities and their passive abilities, they add a lot of depth. Like today, we had some of the best Quake players in the world playing the game at the big ESL booth, and you saw a lot of strategy, a lot of depth that you would not normally get in a Quake game.
Sure, yeah, I'm just, from picking the different champions, and because it's a different starting stats and stuff like that too, right? So,
yeah, you have speed and you have health and armor and stuff.
Yeah. Do you think of it in terms of team composition mattering? And people think about something like Overwatch as being like this very like, oh, you got to put your crew together just right. Is Quake Champions? Do you see it the same way?
Yeah. Like today, we saw with the pro teams, really the guys picking champions that fit with their team. You had one fast guy, one tanker. You saw that dynamic.
Cool.
So there is no one formula, which is really nice that this hasn't happened. But there isn't just one formula.
Like everyone picks these guys.
Yes. Thank God that hasn't happened. So that means we've done something well, and we've balanced it correctly.
Cool. Lorne, how have things been going, man? It's like it's another year you're back here with us. We've talked about everything from VR to AR and back again.
We have.
But what brings you to the show this year? Are you showing stuff behind?
We're showing stuff behind closed doors.
Sneaking a thing around and going like, hey, we got this thing.
Yeah, we're not necessarily making fans happy with that, but you get out there too early and then they slaughter you for this reason or that.
Of course.
So we're just delaying the slaughter, but we know it's coming.
Yeah. And how's that been going?
It's been going actually pretty great.
It's like hunting for a publisher kind of meetings?
No.
Or you're like looking for...
No, we bypassed that world.
Smart.
But we are looking for a partner for physical distribution because we want to get a discount this time, even though we're self-published.
Yeah.
But I think that'll go well. I think we got something fairly special, but talk is cheap, so it needs to be great. And You know, I try to see a lot of things at the show. Show is so busy this year, you can't see anything, right?
Yes.
Body odor factor is high. It's really high.
Not as bad as Gamescom.
It's not as bad as Gamescom.
No Gamescom.
Yeah. But it's high. You know, for LA, it's unusually high.
And
the Uber drivers are talking about it.
Yeah, well, today was definitely probably, I think, the warmest day of the week, too, so I'm sure that really helped.
So we've been, you know, it's a weird balance today because, I mean, you're right on the crust, right? You got beta out there. But the announcement time to release time has to be shorter because people have a shorter attention span, really, right?
Yeah.
So if you're a year out, don't start talking about it too much yet. So we do things to engage the core audience, but we haven't been doing things to really launch outward yet, and that's coming. And I think we got a lot of bullets in the belt that people aren't expecting. Hopefully, we'll see, and then they'll shoot us down to humbling size in no time, I'm sure.
Well, but at least it will happen in a short window from announced release instead of stretching the murder out over 3 months.
Yeah. So it's nicer. It's a more condensed post-traumatic stress era.
Yeah, that's funny.
And we'll take that.
Yeah. And I guess with the way Doom was announced and shown again and stuff like that, it definitely seemed like it gave people a whole lot of time to come up with a lot of things to say about Doom.
Yes. Keep it small. Like Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. We announced it this week, and it comes out this year, and keep it short.
Yeah, keep it short. Keep it short, right?
Bethesda has gone into short, focused, hit them hard.
Right.
Go.
Nothing without 6 months. If it's not in 6 months, you don't hear about it from Bethesda. And the surprise there is that you don't know who's going to emerge as competition in your release window because everyone's holding back longer.
Well, now it's Wolfenstein, Assassin's Creed, and Mario all on the same day. That's what we end up. I believe all 3 of them are. It's 10/27, right?
Right. And then you're like, what are they doing? Like we released the original game back in '97, Age Odyssey, and then Final Fantasy VII a week later, right? So our sales were like, yay! No, like how do you deal with that? You don't. So you recover.
Unless you're like going to be nimble enough to just move stuff around and try to play that game, but that doesn't.
Yeah, but it's funny. Yeah. I'll divert for a second because you got into gaming because you were a big Doom fan, right?
Yep.
That was your history, right? So check this out. I don't know if you know this story. So I was in visual effects at the time when Doom came out, and Doom, someone created a mod that ran on Unix. And then I was in visual effects and film at the time in Los Angeles, and everyone who was in film was running on Unix workstations. But at the time, they were like $80,000 a piece of hardware, right?
Yes.
So no consumer side of stuff like that. But someone made a Doom mod. So now ILM, Pixar, Rhythm and Hues, all these everyone's playing Doom. I mean, totally addicted.
Yeah.
Right? Like totally addicted. So work is grinding to a halt. Right. And this was one of the things that convinced me that I needed to get into games.
Yeah.
Right? So here these guys are working on like Academy Award-winning movies, and they're deciding not to work on them to just play Doom. And at ILM and at Pixar, they started saying, if we catch you playing Doom, damn it, you're fired.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And people got fired because they couldn't stop. Because all you had to hear was, someone's in there, and they're still fighting, they're kicking your ass,
Yeah.
And that was
hear one person doing it, you're like,
but to see that phenomena, right? To see what could happen from a modded thing that was on LAN networks, and we're doing this, and no one had it before, and you had the impression of 3D in this.
Yes.
It was a factor that drove me towards games because I saw that even the visual effects guys couldn't help themselves. They were risking their job to continue playing.
I mean, I think I may have told the story before, but I have a similar story with Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
When Wolf 3D came out, I was kind of loosely going to company. I was kind of getting into this line of work. I was still in high school, and we were going to see. It was a VR company because there was that kind of virtuality, Dactyl Nightmare era of VR.
Back when,
Yeah, and
3 frames per second
VR.
Yes.
But those frames.
Yeah.
And we were seeing a company somewhere in San Francisco that had a tank game in VR, and it was, and I was 16, 17 years old, so that was the coolest shit I had ever seen. And so, they're putting us in this cockpit, and we're putting on this headset and going well, the frame, this is probably the most amazing thing ever. It was before you knew that bad frame rates were bad frame rates. And played that for a while, and, we're hanging out, chatting, and a guy walks up and goes to one of the guy we're talking to with the company, goes, hey, have you seen this Wolfenstein thing that just came out? And we're like, what is this?
Different, yes.
And walks over there and goes, you need to check this shit out. You need to come over here and look at this. And these guys that are working on just the most advanced future tech of the era, and us who are just, are hovering around this computer looking at Wolfenstein 3D for the first time, just like, oh my
It's well, gaming has been the tip of technology. It's been, it's always driven, the huge hardware, push. I mean, it's pushing VR. VR eventually there will be something social, something, some app. But it was gaming that pushed it.
Right. Of course. Yeah. Do you ever see? Well, I guess like now. Doom is coming to VR.
Yeah,
What is that all about? It looked like a very different experience than Doom.
I'm glad you pointed. Yes, that is good to note. Yes, you are not the Doom Marine. You are a different character, but you're in that universe. You're in that setting, and it's a complete experience. But it is engineered differently because it is VR. I mean, if you played Doom in VR, you would probably throw up.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit different. But it's awesome though.
Do you think that, I guess like it depends on how the tech develops, but do you have in the back of your mind, you're just like, this is there's the VR game that you wish that you could make if people just wouldn't get sick, or I think about like Doom, I think about Quake, there's just something about this idea of just like, what if we were just rocket jumping?
Yes. People have asked us, you should do Quake Champions in VR, and it's like no, that'd be crazy. But spectating mode. Spectating would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because you can sit there and you can watch those guys go back and forth.
At your pace.
Yes, at your pace.
Yes.
I mean, I still think, VR is awesome. We still have a ways to go. We have to lose the cord. The cord is killing VR.
Yeah. I was saying earlier, like I've developed a skill to step over the cord, but it's a weird.
Yes.
You shouldn't have to develop the skill to step over the cord.
Yes, and if I had the VR headset on and my wife came home some night and she caught me with this thing going, the night would not be what I would plan. So there's still a whole bunch of weirdness going on that we need to get over.
Yeah.
Especially depending on what you were watching.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And that's kind of the thing I think for me with VR in a lot of cases. The thing I've come to realize. I got married about a year ago, and so that that changed a lot of things about how I'm living my life. And
Pornhub is not getting nearly enough log hours anymore.
And so VR became very different at that point, because now it's like, okay, well, when I put this on, I have to go all the way away. And it's not just conversations with my wife, it's Twitter on my phone, it's whatever I've got going on my second PC monitor, whatever I got. I've got 4 screens in the room I'm in. It's information overload, but that's just how I've come to take in the world.
And this is a problem.
And VR shuts it all off in a way that sometimes even VR is not enough. It's like, no, I need more.
So in an increasingly social world, VR is very antisocial.
Weirdly enough,
right?
Yeah,
and it's a prohibiting factor. Like I would have expected it to take off faster. I mean, we can say Sony's outselling units, Gear is outselling units.
Totally.
But then again,
we can also say the tech is incredibly impressive. Like
it really
there's
is.
some really neat, amazing stuff.
But you're isolating yourself away, and it's not safe, right?
Yeah.
Because we got all kinds of things coming with all the blowback of VR, right? The kid who's mad at his older brother, so now he sticks a sharp object in the room while the brother's in VR. Right?
Yeah.
That's coming. It'll be on YouTube soon, I assure you, right? The kid on the Gear on the subway, and he's getting pickpocketed, and everyone will think that's funny, right?
That has to have happened by now.
The
kid, statistically.
The kid who gets in a car after 6 hours of playing VR and then gets in a car accident and kills the family, that's coming too, right? The neural growth changes that happen because you're in VR, that's coming too, because it's real, right? So imagine, in the first time in human evolution, you're experiencing a completely alternative reality, except your motor skills have not been turned off, right? We dream, we run, we do all these things, but our bodies stay still, mostly, right? Unless you have unless you have sleeping issues, right? Or various types of neurological problems. But for the first time, you're not disconnected. So it inevitably is going to change a neural pathway growth. We don't know what that means.
Right.
But inevitably it's going to happen because your experiential experience is now dislocated in a way that for millions of years has never happened before. So there's all kinds of these factors that are going to weigh in. YouTube is going to document a lot of it, whereas before we didn't have it, right?
Right.
And it's going to be really interesting. And my personal bet is that AR, if AR takes off sooner, then it's over.
Right.
Yeah. Because AR can be mobile and social, meaning everything else in my life can stay engaged, but now I can start engaging in alternative reality laid on top of my reality. But if I have to dislocate from reality, then it's a very disengaging experience for anyone else in the household, right?
Yeah.
And parents are already pissed off enough that they see the kids on a PlayStation long enough.
I bet,
Xbox long enough.
suddenly they're watching kids
Now
just
they're
going
just-
like, later.
Yes.
Now they're
Totally
really
gone.
gone, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I think, that's, again, I think, as that tech develops, like, of course, AR makes the most sense, because even in cases where you need VR, you can just black out the glasses and, make it traditional
VR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably get the best of both out of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? You've seen this 20 years, these trends. Remember? And this is,
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, we'll see how it really kind of
Yeah,
shakes out.
I look at it and think like the thing that changed for me is like I'm an extreme believer in the technology. I look at it and go like it works, in a way that like it didn't work in the 90s.
Yes,
That's right.
Thanks to us.
Yeah, we screwed that up.
Pay to the order of.
Right. That tech is too impressive to.
When it's done well,
yeah.
it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Right?
Even when it's done poorly, it's still kind of mind-blowing. But the thing I've found is that I'm just spending way less time doing it because the software hasn't gotten better fast enough in a lot of cases, or it's just, or that kind of antisocial aspect of it.
Yeah, and we still have the the install base isn't there, so that the funding is really going for the real AAA level stuff. We see a couple indicators of it. We see some amazing demos. We see some valid games that are valid experiences. But if the install base isn't there, who's really going to fund that content that's reaching the levels of the AAA that we see
because
on
it's
normal consoles?
It's still expensive to make games.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't get cheaper to make
it doesn't
a VR
get
game.
cheaper because it needs to run at 120 frames per second in stereo. It's not cheaper.
For 1,000 people.
Right, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So at id, it must be, what's it like having these id properties, the classic id properties, still not only around, but like very much in
relevant.
vogue and relevant.
Yes,
And
yes.
we're talking about Doom, we're talking about Wolfenstein, we're talking about Quake. Where's Commander Keen? What are we doing?
I haven't drank enough tonight.
All right,
To
fair
let it
enough.
all out.
All right.
We have some people back there laughing. But yes, it is. We are truly blessed that because all the games have that spirit, and we've done lots of things different throughout the years, but we maintain this spirit, and it was very evident with Doom. It had that classic Doom spirit, but there's lots of modern things that were put on top of it.
Definitely.
Champions, same way. Feels like the game you played 20 years ago, but it's new. Wolfenstein has tapped into that emotion that has always been in the franchise. So really, we maintain the spirit of the titles. That's key.
Yeah, that's something that I just, I think when Doom got announced, even having seen Wolfenstein, kind of come and go over the years and become popular and kind of fade out, and it was very hard to believe as a big fan of Doom and Doom 2 to bring back Doom. I just don't see, in a Call of Duty world, what does Doom even mean?
Man, Doom could be awesome.
And it
I'm
turns
just saying,
out,
right?
And
I was talking to Dino De Laurentiis, who produced the movie, right?
Yeah.
And he asked me, why do you think it didn't go so well?
The movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the movie's great. It had a character named after me.
How could it be bad?
It's like I have one
Character
rule:
named after
if
him.
there's a character named after me, it's an awesome movie.
So is that the one awesome movie?
That is
ever
the
made?
one awesome movie
All right,
ever.
well,
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
We'll try to get a
that
second
deserves
one made.
5
Yes.
stars right
Yeah.
there. I don't know
Get
what
Dino
to
on the
say.
phone. We're
Yeah.
gonna get another
Yeah,
one
but he was
going.
like,
Dr.
what do you
Willits.
think?
Go ahead.
And I was like, you got an awesome property, but you cared too much what the gamers think,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like, how often do you listen to a movie audience about how it should shape your script?
Yeah. No,
Right?
never.
No, the audience doesn't want a script that they wrote. They want a great movie, right? And and here's the thing about gamers. I'm just probably going to get shot for this, but it wouldn't be the first time. So you got a great property, Doom, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this is hell opens up on Mars, man. Let's go back to Babylon and let's trace the roots. Let's get into the ancient history. Let's get into the black magic of all this. Let's get into the goetics, this and that, right? And you could really get into deep stuff. And he had asked me this, it was right when it released. And I was like, you cared what the gamers think, man. Of course gamers are going to give you their opinion. That's what gamers do, right? Go on the net.
They pay some of them to do it. It's weird.
Yeah, it's brutal, right?
Yeah.
But you listened. Right? Here's what they really cared about. After all the shit that they're talking, what they really cared about, give us a great movie on a property we loved. Now, you're the one who makes movie. Why did you listen to the gamers on how you should make the script?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if you delivered a great movie, and I think the content is there, because I'm like a Doom fan from way back. Quake is a different story, because every time I log in, these little pricks shoot me every fucking time.
That'd be a very different movie.
Yeah.
That's
Feel
a very
old,
different
play
movie.
Doom.
Very short.
Play Quake. Yeah.
Very short movie.
Yeah, I log in, bang, I'm
Yeah.
dead again and again and again. It's
think-
your fault, Tim.
Yeah, I think that's but like that's probably what happened with the Resident Evil movies, right? Is because they're on a tear. I mean, they're going to reboot them as soon as they're done making. They made the last one.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, but those movies don't actually have that much direct ties to the games.
Not for a long time.
And they
But
work.
it's
they
the
work
most
on their own.
successful game franchise during the
Yeah.
movies, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And
Beautiful starlets help.
oh, well, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, you could have got someone like that. Hey, man, to be fair, I think The Rock was in Doom.
Yeah, with The Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock was in Doom. He's a beautiful starlet.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that's
And
what
he's
you're
very
into.
nice.
Nicer.
Nicer than he needed to be.
I bet.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Good-
yes.
good
He's
experience.
really nicer than he needs to be. Yeah, he's a good guy.
That's awesome. So with Quake Champions, like, what's it been like kind of returning to Quake? I feel like with Doom, there was that essence of just like, okay, let's distill this thing down to the essence, but modernize
Yes,
all
so,
around it. But like with Quake, it's multiplayer, so there's still a lot of, like, people have those expectations about this and that and this feel
That's
and
the
this.
thing. So it's a Quake game. So the greatest thing about it is that it's a Quake game. The thing that works against it is it's a Quake game. Because there are people that love Quake 1, Quake 2, Quake 3, Quake 4, and they all have something different in them. So when Champions came out, people would be like, I don't like the speed of the rocket launcher. I don't like air control. I don't like this. Make it like Quake 4. Make it like Quake 3. Make it like Quake 2. So there's that. But I think we've kind of balanced it out, which with the Champions, it's helped. Because we have some champions that feel like Quake World, some champions feel like Quake 3.
Right.
So that has helped. But
And the cosmetics, so you can
and the
unlock
cosmetics.
the proper rocket
Yes.
launcher skin. And,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, and today one of the pro players from Team Liquid played with the Quake 1, rocket launcher and the Quake 2 lightning gun and stuff. So that was
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, that has been a challenge to get everyone's ideas of Quake, because people have these memories of Quake.
Right.
I was in college and I played Quake for the first time. Me and my dad used to play Quake together. So they take these memories and they project them onto what they're playing. And if it doesn't match that memory, then they're like, you ruined Quake for me.
Of course, yeah.
So it's been fun. I can say that. It's been a bit of a challenge, but because it has
A lot of
legacy,
feedback.
Yes, there's been that.
Yeah, yeah, that's I imagine. I mean, if anything, that's got to be that blessing and the
Yeah,
curse.
but
of just like-
how willing are you to step beyond that expectation and take the risks?
Well, we had a Champions.
authentically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
yes,
clearly.
yes, it was. Plus, we've done this long enough to know that if you make a game that you love, there's a good chance that other people will like it too.
Right, right.
Yes.
And how much? But I mean, this is like a legitimate question today, right? So we're more and more shaped because we do have rapid user feedback, right? But then we tend to hear the most vocal the most,
Right.
Right, and then that can really tilt.
Yes.
Not necessarily in the best place that everyone else is going to like the game, because the loudest voices tend to be
For sure. Yeah.
rise to the noisiest level, and I think that's you said it, which is build a great game that we love. And so you Quake. Oh, you killed Quake for me because it's not like Quake 4. Well, that was fucking Quake 4.
Yes.
Right.
And
we gave you that game. We didn't
theoretically-
ruin Quake 4.
theoretically,
We're
you could
evolving.
go still play
We're
Quake
evolving the
4.
franchise, right?
You
And
go
if you
play-
can take that into that next realm, but it's like you're going to suffer some backlash. You're going to do it, but you gotta.
Because the people that
You gotta
love it,
push it,
are
right?
playing.
Right.
The people that don't love it are like, I don't love it.
Right.
Send.
Right.
yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's I went back and forth because I still have like Quake Live installed and still
you.
play a fair amount of that, and I'm terrible at it now, as it turns out. But that's okay. I still enjoy myself, and so it's been interesting seeing, kind of Quake Live as kind of this continuation of the Quake 3 legacy, and then getting into that Quake Champions beta and going like, oh, they've made some changes, okay, all right, but it still has the basic feel.
Yeah.
And then over the course of, week to week as it's been shaped, kind of seeing it and going like, this is a good,
Yes,
great looking arena shooter.
So in our production, in our path, the first milestone was make it feel like Quake. So, we just got it in as fast, got everything working, got some outside people to come in, play it. Does it feel like Quake? Yes. Okay, good. And then we're done with that. Then we started to focus on the other things.
So wait a minute, you started all over on tech?
Yeah.
So you didn't evolve existing mechanics?
No,
you started fresh.
This is id. we start over all the time.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Amortization.
I mean, heck, if we made Doom 3 with Quake 3 tech, it'd been done in a year.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. New tech.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, that eyeball looks really good. So when
Yes.
it turns out, when you start over with new stuff and you get the,
Yes.
you get all
Yes.
the stuff that comes
we're
with that.
going to be better. We have a good production pipeline now that lets us be more, iterate on it.
And how do you find the right level of content for something like this when it comes to like choosing like, hey, how many champions we need to put in this thing, or like, or how many maps are you going to launch with? Not that I'm like going like, how many maps are you going to launch with? But how do you determine?
As much as we get done by the time.
Sure. All right. Yeah.
We got 8
Well, how do
done.
you measure that? You measure that in terms of, it's a poundage ratio.
Yeah.
So what are you going, hours to play, hours to, how are you figuring that out on a purely live,
I mean, we have some stats on what people play and how long they play. And playing Quake Champions or any Quake game can be physically draining. So we know that most people really only spend about 30 minutes a day playing.
Really?
Yes, most people can't really handle more than that. The hardcore people play all day long.
Yeah.
But so you take your average, you kind of put people in the pool, you draw a curve, you kind of figure out, this is what we need to make. So there's more math behind it. Originally, we just made stuff. Like people were like, the quad damage is the greatest thing ever. We just made that up.
Well, we put more Satan in this one.
Yes,
Ship
and
it.
it just worked.
Extra Satan, go.
There's this map that I made 15 years ago. Someone just today said it was so genius that you did not place a railgun in that map. And I was like, that's because I forgot. I forgot.
That's true genius, man.
Genius.
That's
So we were just throwing stuff against the wall. Now we're a little more scientific and stuff that we make.
Yeah.
But
do you worry that the science sometimes ruin? I mean, you talk about feedback and knowing when to listen, but do either of you ever get worried that the science is going to ruin it? I know, like
We're pretty lame on science.
Yeah, for us, like we've got access to all kinds of numbers and stats and time spent and engagement and all this stuff, and I'm just like,
when you have tournament play, when you have arena play, I think you're tracking analytic behavior at a much tighter level.
Yeah.
When you have the type of experiences that we've been building, historically, which is more into the category of single player, story-ish. Action adventure game. You're going a lot more with your gut. You could probably be more scientific. We just where did they yell loudest? What did they like the most?
Sure.
When were the death threats? And we can measure that. Get a better idea of what we should do, what we shouldn't do.
Would you ever even want more data out of that? Because I know something like Mass Effect, you can opt in to send them a lot of data about how you played and all this other stuff.
We're totally welcoming that data.
Yeah.
How much we process is another story.
Sure. Yeah.
But and there's a part of it where personally, as a designer, I tend to think more like a film director, which is not necessarily a smart thing to say on this show, but I tend to think that way. So I tend to think if we have some ideas that can blaze some new territory, that can make it exciting, we should take some chances on it.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because if we talk about it early, then there's all kinds of potential blowback. You promised this and it wasn't in the game, and it's so I've just learned, just shut the fuck up.
Right.
Until we're there and we really have the goods, and then we can tease at it in certain abstract ways. But if we start getting specific, you almost can't win. So you might excite people, but you're going to be disappointing someone else at the same time.
Right, and you're just turning them into all of a sudden now they're like, well, now I want it now.
Yeah.
You're like, well, that's not. That was never the
And then
intent.
part of it, we pursue our own gut with it. This is where it should go. This is where we feel it should go based on our experience with an IP that we've been living with for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, here goes the hair. But, and in that, you really have to be able to afford an element of the creative process where you can sort of fail faster, right? How much is that?
Right.
Yes.
Like in the past, we were like, no, this is a great idea, man. I'm going to make it happen.
Locked
And now we're
in,
like,
no
let's
changes.
figure out if it's a good idea fast so we can kill it quick if it sucks. But if it's great, we'll expand on it. And through that process, we learn a lot. But in our type of game, we're not getting the same type of feedback. I mean, we're heading towards live. There'll be some surprises on that, I think, coming soon. But without spilling the beans because he's going to kill me. But yeah, I'm not kidding. And so a lot of it is like gut. You know, if you go back to filmmaking, right?
Right.
The gamers know what they want to a large degree, but they want to be surprised, right? And so you got to deliver that surprise. Filmmakers have to think different. They need to always surprise, you know, unless you're Michael Bay and you know who your 15-year-old male audience is, and you just make more.
Hey, surprise! These things blew up. Good.
Yeah, blow them up bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it reminds me of so many things. But so a lot of it is that gut, and you're trying to balance that with some semblances of science. But I think if you do that too much, then we're in a landscape that we largely see today, which is big brands, derivative product that they're measuring, I mean, huge financial risks, right?
Right.
So I don't ding anyone for being cautious on huge financial risk. But so then you got to measure more succinctly, are we delivering what they want and how much can we, you know, is it 90% what they want, 10% surprise? Is that the right ratio?
Right.
And all of that's a risk. But when you're in a big brand, like if you built Gran Turismo, whatever the latest number, right, and you don't do an outstanding 10 out of 10 job, you suck. Because you have so much data of knowing what they want, of knowing where you could go, of knowing what should be added. But if you're in like an abstract world, you're in alternative universes, people are looking at you to develop that in ways that are going to be compelling to them.
Right.
And if they were going to write the script, they're not that interested in you anymore.
Yeah.
So and I think there's a lot of risk with that, and you have to trust the creative process, and that's a whole nother, sort of can of schizophrenia.
Totally. I think that's. Engage. I mean, that's why I think Wolfenstein ended up being like one of, if not the standout of the show for me, because you look at that, and you know, I think back to what Wolfenstein has been, but also I think about, you know, even just the first Wolfenstein game in this chain from Machine Games, and seeing that trailer, you're like,
they did some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Those Machine Game guys are crazy.
They went out there
in like a good way.
Yeah.
But they did something. They pitched. So like a while back, they came and they pitched the story to me, and they said there's something in that's kind of like really out there, and just. So they started going, and they would get to something. I'd be like, "Oh, is that it?" They're like, "Oh, no, that's not it." And they would go on, and they'd explain. I was like, "Is that it? Is that the crazy thing?" They're like, "No." And then they're like, "This is." I'm like, "Holy cow!" So those guys have just gone. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Great to see, just because of how strong.
Just wait
that
till you play.
Game
There's
was,
more crazy than you even know.
Yeah, no, that's
crazy.
That's very exciting to hear. Because we had Jens on last night and talked to him for a little while.
He's insane, isn't he? Awesome.
Yeah,
he's
definitely.
Like the best guy ever.
And I just think back to, for me, it was just like the lineage from back in kind of the Starbreeze days for stuff like Riddick and stuff like that, and what teams like that have done for first-person games.
Yes.
And the way you see that in Wolfenstein, and we see this kind of like old concept of Wolfenstein merged with that kind of style, and it just
those Machine Game guys, like in the beginning, they'd be like, "Hey, can we get your opinion on something?" I'm like, "No, you're good. You're good. Go.
Yeah.
You don't need my opinion. Make awesome."
Yeah, awesome. Well, I think we're gonna let you guys go. Quake. So anyone can go to Quake.com and sign up and get into that game right now.
If you can click a button, you can play the game.
All right. I'm already in the game, so I was gonna say I'll use my clicking fingers, but
what's your game?
Monster Dunk. I've not played.
Look him up.
Look me up.
We'll find your stats.
I'm probably terrible.
Monster Dunk.
Probably terrible.
Probably terrible.
Right.
And Lorne.
So you can follow. We're running an ARG on what's coming.
Okay.
So we're slowly trickling it out, and it's depressing how fast the audience crowd solutions.
Yeah.
That's always eye-opening. But Oddworld.com, Oddworld on Facebook, Oddworld on Facebook.
Awesome.
Soulstorm is the new game that's coming.
Yeah.
We should be out. Well, I can't say because they'll kill me.
We should be out someday. I guess that's
someday. Not too distant future.
All right.
I guess those announcements will come soon.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming through.
Thanks for having us, Jeff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we will take another break, and we'll be back with some more guests
Pleasure.
in the very near future. Stay tuned.